This video will show you how to quote a phrase from a source rather than a complete sentence. So first, let's look at what we would do if we did want to quote a complete sentence. So I've read this article about telemedicine, and it has a sentence I like. There are certain advantages such as reduced travel and increased access. So let's see what that would look like if I quoted the complete sentence. I could say, according to Bishop, there are certain advantages such as reduced travel and increased access. So I've given the author credit, his name was Bishop, and I've put quotation marks around the sentence that matches the source. I've used a comma after my signal phrase, according to Bishop, and I've started the quote with a capital letter because it's a complete sentence. Now some of these things are going to change if I quote just a phrase. I could quote just the phrase, reduced travel and increased access. And so I could say, according to Bishop, some benefits of telemedicine are reduced travel and increased access. So again, I've put the quotation marks around the words that match the source. These other words, some benefits of telemedicine are not from the source. That's in my own words. So I need to start the quotation after I've finished my own words. I also don't need to use the comma before the quote or the capital letter because the quote is not a complete sentence. When you're just quoting a phrase from a source instead of a complete sentence, you should follow normal capitalization and comma rules regardless of what you would do with a quote. If you wouldn't have a comma or capital letter here, if it wasn't a quote, you still don't need the comma or capital letter. Let's look at one more example. In this example, I've said benefits like reduced travel and increased access are attributed to telemedicine. So I've used the same quote here, but the sentence is structured a little differently. Now the quote is in the middle of the sentence. Now I've still used quotation marks only around the words that exactly match the source. But here I've put a citation at the end of the sentence. The citation doesn't have to go immediately after the quote if the rest of the sentence is still about that quote. There's no need to put that citation in the middle of your sentence. Okay? So you can name the author in a signal phrase, or you can put the author at the end of the sentence, but you don't need the citation right after the quote in the middle of a sentence. I hope that helps.